Abuja.
Programs manager of Yaga Africa, Paul James, joins me now to analyze the 2023 election 1 year after. Mr. James, thank you for joining us on the news this hour. So INEC is saying that its bimodal voter accreditation system technology recorded 98% success rate in the last election. What has Yaga identified as the improvement in the last general election?
Well, I think if there is one thing we must commend INEC is, that they had come up this time to provide reports of, if you like, what has happened from the presidential election. But to say this is happening 1 year after the election, I think it's a long time, especially if you are in the business of building confidence in the process that ended with a lot of different dissenting opinions about how it was conducted. Yes, based on the report that we had received from that election as well, we can confirm that this, the bimodal voter accreditation device did work well. But it was beyond the conversation of the beavers. It's about the technology deployment in the election. If you recall, what has happened in that election was that the results of the presidential election were delayed. As of 10 p.m. on the day of the presidential election, none of these results have been uploaded. In fact, as of the day that INEC declared the winner, that is 1st of March, only 73% of those results have been uploaded. The statement by INEC on the 26th of February stated that it experienced some glitches. Nigerians had asked questions in the last 1 year. What were those glitches? The commission didn't come out to say anything until about 2 days ago when it released its own report from the elections engagement. But beyond that conversation is that in the last 1 year, if you look at INEC performance, I would say it has been oscillating. There was complaints from the presidential election, and it improved in the March 18 election. And then subsequent election that followed, if you follow the trend in the November 11th election that happened in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa State, there were complaints from Imo and Kogi State especially. In Kogi was an election where we saw by the morning of the election that there were pre-filled results that were seen mostly in polling units in Kogi Central. In Imo, based on the report that we had gathered at the Yaga Africa, elections were not conducted in 12% of our sample polling units. We have sampled 300 polling units across the state. Some of these polling units were even locations that INEC had told us before the election that they would go conduct election. A place like Osun local government, where we thought there were security challenges. What we all expected from the commission, they are all humans like us. We can also understand these issues. We thought the commission will have also managed public expectations.
I hear you clearly, Mr. James, but allow me to take you back to the presidential election, so that we can just review what has happened, for that exercise 1 year after. You talked about IREV. I think it's very clear from the position of INEC and the court that IREV isn't as relevant as was widely reported to determine the credibility of this election, especially where the results are concerned and how it was announced. But speak to us about the percentage of votes that, made the winner returned elected, 36.61% of total vote cast. What does that say, about the participation, and then how does it reflect, the intention of voters ahead of this exercise?
Well, before I go to that, to answer the question on the IRF, I think there is a moral question we need to answer here. Before the elections, and they raised a lot of hopes that they were going to deploy technology. So the point I had made earlier is that if there are challenges with the technology, we expect the commission to have come out to tell Nigerians what had happened, not to give all this long period before they come out to have those conversations. Beyond that is also the point, what we are just asked also. Turnout in the election was just 27%. But if you look also, there are a lot of factors that could have impacted the turnout. Your reporter earlier mentioned the cash crunch that had happened before the election, but also we had reports of voter suppression across several states. In Lagos, for instance, the morning of the election, there was this Oro Cult festival that happened in the morning of the election that scared some voters from going out to participate. Yeah, at the end, about if you look at the percentage of votes that went to the winner, about 36% or thereabout of the total vote cast. But like I said, there are also other factors that we need to look at. But this may also speak to the competitive nature of our elections now. This is the first election in a long time, in over a decade, that you have like 3 major parties contesting in the election, if you like. If you look at the other 2 elections that have been contested in 2011, 2015, 2019, they were majorly contested by 2 parties. But now I think this is where we have the votes divided. So we had the challenge, like I said, of some of the factors that inhibited the conduct of the election, insecurity, for instance, across several states in the country, the challenge also of technology that happened on election. They could also have dampened citizens' confidence in the process and may possibly have affected turnout in the process.
Thank you so much for your contribution. I've been speaking with Programs Manager, Yega Africa, Paul James. We're back with more stories after this break. Stay with us, everyone.